All right, hello YouTube. This is the Galley La Podcast, and we're going to be reviewing One Piece Chapter 1030. How you doing, G-Boss?
Um, I could be doing better. This is certainly a chapter.
Yeah, and just to start it off, and again, obviously, I think if people were to just listen to our first couple shows, we love One Piece, and we've been enjoying most of Wano for the most part, and the past chapters were straight fire. Um, and I would just say, like, I guess right off the bat, maybe we should start with the whole Drake Apu thing. Which was a little abrupt because I don't know how they necessarily transitioned from a fight uh, to this little room off to the side with three big numbers.
Yeah,
So that was a little weird.
yeah, I double checked, and the last time that we saw Drake and Apu was chapter 1007, which was back in March of this year. And the last time we saw Drake was when um, Chopper hit Queen, and everyone was saying that they were sorry for calling him a Tanuki.
Yeah,
Uh, and Apu was like in the same chapter, and he was commenting about Hyogoro, and that was the last time we saw them. We saw him. So, yeah. How did they get to this point? And why would these two be interacting that way? Because last time we saw them, they were fighting each other.
yeah. It was Apu just like, yo, dog. Let's just get some drinks over here in my room real quick. Yeah, Yeah, so it's just like, that was a little strange. I mean, regardless, the numbers look cool, and I genuinely do love how Apu wants to betray Kaido. I think that's great for his character, and I'm kind of liking this more to see this characterization rather than Drake take him out. Um, I don't know exactly why Drake would trust him though, because he's with the Straw Hats who are a lot stronger. So I don't know why he would tag team with this guy.
Yeah, and Apu kind of he says that he knows that he's a spy with not necessarily with sword, but um how did he know that?
Yeah, maybe that's what they meant by a spy, but they didn't really like articulate that clearly when Queen and Who's Who and Hawkins all found out. But I guess he found out that way, and that he works for the Navy apparently. And so I don't know how they figured that out either.
Yeah, and this
It just
is
seems weird.
yeah, and this kind of complicates Wano even further if we add this whole nother. I don't know if you would call it another alliance, but it's certainly another factor, and
Yeah,
because
because Drake.
they have the numbers with them, so
And also Drake was a part of Luffy's alliance, and he really didn't do anything. He didn't even take out Apu. Well, I guess he took out one number when he, but then that's it, and then it's over. Like, it just kind of felt like Oda forgot about these two. Like, in a way, I'm kind of glad they're doing this, even though it doesn't make that much sense because we get to see more of their interactions and everything. Like, I just kind of wish there was more leading up to this point, you know?
yeah. I mean, last week we were joking about how we had completely forgotten them as factors in this whole raid.
Exactly. So if Oda wants to develop them more, then I'm okay with that because I'd say Hawkins got plenty of development before he got taken out, but I can't really say the same for Drake and Apu. So I'm kind of glad they're going to be lingering around the story a little bit more in that respect, even though if it was like sloppily handled basically to get to this point. Um, so yeah, I don't know what you would think about that though.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to think about all of that because I was just assuming that they were gonna fight and probably Drake was gonna beat Apu, but
hmm
yeah.
So this is kind of where I want to get to this rant, I guess.
Go on.
I'm starting. I'm starting to despise the scabbards collectively. It's slowly growing, and I think it kind of took off this chapter because I don't give a shit about Kiku. Okay, nobody really gives a shit at this point, and I'm just kind of thinking, instead of seeing panels developing more the Apu Drake transition, or at the end, instead of having Kid, Law, and Big Mom fighting, we have this. Okay, and so if you were to ask the average One Piece fan, would you rather see two Supernova fighting Big Mom? Would you rather see more pages or that, or would you want to add in another stupid little mini plot line like let's go save Kiku? Okay, and it's like the Scabbards are kind of average characters with the exception of Kinnymon. He's great, but it's like, why do we need to resurrect him? For this would be the second time because they got healed after the fight with Kaido, and now they're kind of quote unquote getting resurrected again. Why do we need that? Why? I'm not saying they even have to die. Why can't they just be KO'd on the ground? Onigashima gets dropped, and then they get to see Momonosuke fully grown. Why do we have to waste panels with like trying to find and save them again? Like, let's just keep it to all the good pure stuff right now. This is just kind of a rabbit hole that I don't care about, and the Scabbards have just gotten way too much screen time. Like, I'm just sick of it anymore. I'm sorry.
No, I can see where you're coming from. I also think we're kind of retreading plot lines because Onigashima's already on fire with what Orochi did. He set the castle on fire. But now we have Kanjuro, who we thought Kinemon killed, creating this new painting of a fire spirit that can go through walls and light the place on fire more. It just seems kind of like we're retreading things. And I was upset about Kinemon surviving as well, although Oda's known for keeping characters alive that shouldn't be. See Pell and Pound, the Will of P.
Yes.
But I mean, Kinemon's it was pointed out, I was reading Twitter, and there was a post that kind of explained how Kinemon survived this, because Law never put him back together. It was the Straw Hats who kind of assembled him, or he assembled himself back together. And so he doesn't really have the connective thing that Law's fruit provides to put him back together completely. Like we saw in Punk Hazard, when the Straw Hats were able to rearrange his head in different ways with the slices. So, I mean, that's one. Once I read that, I was like, okay, it kind of makes sense that he survives. And honestly, I didn't expect the Scabbards to die really either. But I completely agree with you that they should be like KO'd right now, and that's kind of what we were going with. We were seeing the Scabbards getting KO'd one by one, like Ashura Doji, and then Kinemon and Kiku, and now Inuarashi and Nekomamushi are basically spent because they fought off Jack and Perospero. And who knows where Denjiro is at this point, because it's been a while since we've seen him too.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
And I mean, it would kind of make more sense for Denjiro to kind of find Kinemon at this point, unless he's gonna. We don't know what's going on with him. But I will say that I think at this point we're gonna see Usopp do more, because he's going off with Kinemon's lower half, and I've been saying that Usopp's been needing to do something in this raid rather than what he's been doing. So I am appreciative of that, but I'm not sure if that's going to be as fulfilling as fighting someone else, because I don't know if there's anyone left to fight, really, like big names, unless he's going to take out the fire spirit or something.
Which would be cool. Like, I'd like the Conjuro Fire Spirit. I'm actually pretty okay with that. I just kind of wish
it looks
more
cool.
I think about it.
Yeah, but it doesn't really. I don't think it adds anything more to the plot than Onigashima falling, and having it on fire already. I don't think we need another thing to add on top of that.
Yeah, I just kind of wish the Scabbards stayed down after their fight with Kaido. I mean, maybe with the exception of the Minks kind of getting re-healed, maybe. You could say they're just stronger, so they can revive a little quicker.
Or it's in their physiology or something, because they're Minks.
Yeah, it just... My issue with a lot of this battle so far is you get it's like that stupid pill that Zoro took, It's like everybody gets taken down, and then they get brought back up. Okay, so it takes away the stakes a bit, and I'm not saying they have to die, but just stay out, so that way you could have more time for other people to shine. And I just don't, again, I don't really love the Scabbards that much, and so when they're getting this much screen time, the up and the down, it's just like, give me a break, like, and you could say like, oh, it's One Piece, like, we expect this to happen, but it's like, it doesn't mean it's not bad though.
That's
right?
True.
Whether it's like, so like, I kind of preferred Zoro just stayed out of the arc, because he took the consequences of taking that attack, and we know, okay, boom, consequences done. Or like, same with the Scabbards too. And now it just kind of feels a little broken with the healing system, and you don't have the same intensity that I would say Marineford had, which this arc's been compared to. And I think, I want Kid and Law to have more time to shine, and I just feel like they didn't get it this chapter. I just kind of felt like the their ultimate awakenings and all this stuff, it just wasn't, it was just kind of shoehorned in there, and for what?
We'll get to that when we get to that part of the chapter.
Sorry.
Sorry. Cause that's my other big problem with this chapter. But yeah, going through it, like you were saying, we have like 2 panels, or we have like half a page showing kind of like the King and Zoro fight, and Luffy and Kaido, and Sanji and Queen, which is kind of what we've been wanting to see. I understand that's not all about what the fans want, but it's been like Luffy's fighting Kaido one-on-one on the roof. That kind of warrants an expectation of wanting to see that battle. But now we're just kind of, I don't know. And I think the screen time with the Kinemon stuff in this chapter could have been used to kind of go to the roof with Luffy and Kaido. But yeah, also I don't really know what Orochi's trying to do. I mean, he's trying to burn them all. But I mean, how is he gonna survive all this? Like, he doesn't really seem to have a plan. He just wants to burn everything.
He's not the smartest guy in the world. I mean, maybe he has some of his ninja bodyguards that could potentially get him out of there if he wanted to. I know we saw Shinobu fly when they were fleeing Orochi's palace in the beginning of Wano, so there might be a potential. Yeah, that some of them can fly, but it's. Yeah, I think he just kind of wants to destroy everything. I guess that's a pretty good plan, to get Kanjuro to do it. I guess kind of what I thought potentially was that Orochi was going to talk to CP0 to take out everything. But, that could potentially be on the table. And there was actually that pretty cool panel. I did like that part of the chapter where you just kind of see 2 of the 3 just standing there.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know where the 3rd one is.
I think they're going to go try and get Robin. I think that's what they're going to go do. And that I do really like that panel. I was going to bring that up, that they're on the move.
Yeah. They look very ominous. Just standing there. It's cool.
Yeah. But going back to Kanjuro, what is this, like the 3rd death scene now? Or using the last of his strength or whatever? Because he had it with Kiku outside.
Yes, it is the 3rd.
And now, and then Kinemon cut him down, and now he's using like the last of his strength to create this fire demon. I never liked Kanjuro to begin with, and like the traitor thing, I was excited that he was revealed to be the traitor, but it was never kind of expounded upon. So I don't know. So, but yeah, let's just move on to probably the biggest, not the biggest ass pull of the chapter, but or of the series, but something that I take issue with, which is.
But real quick though,
Yeah.
I do love the transition of Yamato seeing the sovereignty. That was actually pretty cool. Like,
Oh yeah.
that was one thing I kind of liked about the chapter was the chaoticness of going from boom, 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 you know, and that was actually one of the cooler transitions Oda's done in a while. But anyways, yeah, go on, yeah.
Yeah. So I was trying to rationalize this with kid-in-law having awakenings for their devil fruit, which was never foreshadowed really. We know that people can have awakenings of their devil fruit, and it's not really clear like what the criteria is for that at all. It's just kind of speculation. So when they just kind of pull it out of nowhere, it just kind of cheapens it for me. Like, oh, we've had this the whole time. So did Law have this in Dressrosa when he was fighting Doflamingo? Why didn't he use it then? But I was also trying to think about it in comparison to Luffy's gears, because Luffy's gears kind of came out of nowhere, but there was an explanation of how that could work, like him circulating his blood faster with his rubber body, and him blowing air into his rubber body to inflate it with Gear 3. Those make sense in terms of this, but awakenings don't really have an explanation yet. They just kind of happen. Like, we've been told,
Yeah.
the only people before this that had awakenings in canon were Doflamingo and Katakuri, because they love to give awakenings to movie villains. But Doflamingo and Katakuri. So we never get an explanation. They just kind of use it, and I think we've seen Kid and Law use their powers enough to. I don't know what I'm trying to say. That this should have been highlighted or foreshadowed more, because I thought with last chapter, and I said in the last podcast, that I thought we were going to get a blooming of Kids Conquerors hockey with this, not an awakening, because I think that would make more sense. And also, it's kind of weird that it's introduced in a flashback, not in the moment.
Yeah, and I kind of, so a comparison I'm gonna think about with this is basically Chopper had a flashback for his power up, Robin had a flashback for the power up, and to some extent there was something with Sanji a little bit with the power up flashback too. And again, just if we didn't have the Kiku Adventure Party panels, then we could have gotten that more fleshed out. Like Kid discovering his awakening, or Law after finding Doflamingo, he started studying it, you know? And we kind of had it more morphed into one. And I'm not like super impressed with the panels either that we got with it. I mean, they're kind of cool. It's just like I've seen a little better from Oda, and you think something with this type of moment, it would have been a lot more intense and hype built into it. But the hype was kind of taken out a lot because we started with that cool panel with Kid at the end of last chapter, and then we just get all this weird stuff in between, you know?
And then the next time we
just...
see Kid, he's getting thrown out with the Ikoku, which he kind of tanked.
Exactly, yeah. So that's where it's just a little frustrating for me, I guess, with a lot of this. I just think, I mean, the attacks were cool. I loved it. You know, that was really cool. It's just, again, we don't need Kiku. we need more development of the supernova.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. I think the only thing I kind of liked about this chapter, it progressed a lot of storylines. So we could get more onto the good stuff. And I kind of feel like we just took a punch to the gut to just kind of move on to the other stuff.
Yeah. I will say that their awakening powers are cool. Um, and I mean, we don't necessarily know if we're gonna get a flashback, because I think when you were just talking, I kind of pictured a flashback for Law being like, oh, I need to get stronger because Doflamingo took me out so easily and he had his awakening. I should learn how to awaken my fruit as well. I think that would be a cool thing. But I will say I love Kid's awakening, because out of all the powers that I personally would want, I love like magnetizing things, like magnetism, like polarity and stuff. And that's really cool. With the punk crash at the end, where he brings the buildings all together into Big Mom. And this could be a way for Big Mom to kind of be put out of the action without necessarily defeating her, because she could just be trapped underneath all of that and not be able to move. But I think this is kind of really the first big damage that we've seen on her too. With like the first time we've seen her bleed, really. I mean, outside of when she was on Whole Cake, when they broke the picture, like she scratched her knee or whatever.
That's true.
Yeah.
And they made a point of that too. Blood coming out.
Yeah, but I just have problems with the storytelling, not necessarily what happened. You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like it could have been done a lot better. And I'm still enjoying the series. This isn't like a ruining moment for the series, but we're definitely not ending Wano anytime soon. I don't think by the end of the year.
Yeah, we're not like blackpilling on this series or anything. It's, just some critiques. We're not fanboys. At the end of the day, but it's just yeah, I just feel like he could have handled it. I mean, I enjoyed the last chapter so much too, and so this is just kind of feels like a letdown to me. And I think that's part of it too. I mean, yeah, it's nice. They've progressed a lot of plot lines. I mean, if Drake does end up allying with Apu, I think it would have been cooler if the war is over and they make a move, and it's like, oh wait, they're actually working together, and it's kind of introduced that way when they attack together. Instead of, I thought something like that would be a little cooler. But it is progressing this the CP0 stuff, but there's so many plot lines up in the air right now. It's getting crazier.
Yeah,
if anything.
Yeah, it's a big juggling act. But I think it would be funny if, like, Drake uses Apu to get off of Onigashima or something, and then he just turns over Apu to the government.
Yeah,
I think that would be hilarious.
Yeah, I could see him doing that. Yeah. I want to see more from his character, because I thought his character would be one of the most interesting ones, but he's been kind of one-dimensional so far.
Yeah, but there's a lot going on. Like, we haven't seen him in 23 chapters.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's part of the issue. So it looks like next chapter we're probably gonna either have more of the Big Mom stuff, or we're gonna get with Sanji and Zoro versus King and Queen.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing. We kind of glossed over it. There was like one panel of Momonosuke producing little flame clouds to carry Onigashima.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm still not convinced that he is going to be the one to save it. And with this chapter, who knows if Luffy's going to suddenly awaken his devil fruit and cause Onigashima to be bouncy. And that way it negates the explosion and the devastation.
That's one thing I don't want, not necessarily because of that instance or that theory happening. I want Kid to have something that Luffy doesn't, and vice versa. so they're kind of more rivals, you know.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
so I would prefer that. Just on that note, I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world,
Hmm.
you know, if that happened, but that's just kind of a preference of mine.
Yeah, because I mean, Law and Kid definitely got a power increase now. People
Hmm.
have been joking about their top 30 uh, power scaling lists and
Yeah,
where they're gonna fall on there.
yeah.
But um, but yeah, but kind of talking this over more, I'm kind of warming up a little bit more of the chapter. Um,
Hmm.
um, but is it as bad as Big Mom's mother mode, or do you think?
What exactly?
Oh, the point where she took out page one because of mother mode because they hit Tama.
Oh, but what point in this chapter though are you comparing mother mode to?
Oh, I'm just saying the whole chapter.
Oh, the whole chapter. You know what? I'd say mother mode was preferable to pages having to do with the scabbards in this chapter. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely.
I was gonna say
It's
that's the lowest point of Wano for me, is the mother mode stuff.
you like I said, if we didn't have the up down thing, then this chapter would be fine. It'd be okay. But it's just the fact that we just keep on going in this loop. It just gets a little old after a while. And I mean, some people are saying like, oh, maybe Kiddymon is gonna get there and Kiku's gonna die, like in his hands or something. Like, okay, yeah, that'd make it a little bit more redeemable. That's,
Mhm.
but I mean, I want Kiddymon to die too, though. I
Well,
love his character, but like, come on, dude, you took some massive damage this arc, you know.
yeah, he's literally cut in half. But I mean, there was someone I read somewhere that Kinemon still hasn't reunited with his wife after he was transported 20 years in the future, so he's probably going to survive and reunite with her.
It's okay to have some tragedy, man. You know, it's like one of the things I loved about the Pound Death is that Chiffon would have never seen him, but he still defended her, and this would kind of be a similar thing. But then, for some random reason, he's like, "No, let's bring Pound back at a cover story," even though that was like one of the best moments I think in Whole Cake, to me. And in a similar way, I think it would be cool here. But you're right. I don't know. I'm skeptical.
Yeah,
I
and
just wish more people were died right now. That's all. But
yeah,
you know.
and I think that's a criticism of One Piece's storytelling as a whole, that there's not that many deaths, or not that
Mhm.
there's not that many deaths, that there's a lot of fake out deaths.
Yeah, the fake out deaths are obnoxious. Yeah.
And that's why when Ace died, that was such a big moment, and when Whitebeard died.
Mhm.
And I think that's
Yeah,
why
it's-
Marineford's so memorable. But
that's true.
yeah, I wouldn't compare this to Marineford. I like thinking of Wano as like Enies Lobby, because it's more of a raid on an enemy territory,
Mhm.
and there's a big countdown and everything. I would compare it to Enies Lobby more than Marineford, because Marineford's going to be coming up at the end of the series. Marineford number 2.
All right, so I think that's about it. Thank you everybody for listening. This is Akainu Fanboy and Geboss, and sorry if we got a little negative. That's not our intention. We just try to be honest with how we feel about the chapter, and we hope it was thoughtful criticism and not just shit posting. So if you enjoyed the video, just give us a like and subscribe, and thanks for listening. Everybody have a good one. Peace.
Bye.